In Burkina Faso's humanitarian crisis, food is in scarce supply. Internally displaced people, or IDPs, at this unofficial camp in the centre-north region say they do not receive food aid from the state or non-profits. This woman, whose identity we have protected, resides in a host community for IDPs. She says she's been forced to take desperate measures in order to eat.
We stayed in our shelters for 6 months without even a basic amount of food, unless you have sex with the people distributing the food, or prostitute yourself, or go in the town begging. A lot of women were contracting sexual diseases. I had to survive until my husband returned, and we rented a small house.
A report last month by the New Humanitarian, a media outlet focusing on humanitarian issues, found that 8 IDPs had been forced into sex in exchange for food aid in the centre-north region.
From the reporting I did with the women that I spoke to and aid officials and government officials, it seemed like everyone knew that this was happening. Few people were really willing to talk about it. The women that I spoke to said that they knew other women who had also registered for food, were having a hard time finding food assistance, and thought that they were being propositioned in the same way that they had been, either for sex or for money in order to add their names to the registration list.
The report also said an inter-non-profit system to prevent and address sexual exploitation and abuse is not fully set up. An official from a town with a large IDP population, who spoke on condition of anonymity, told VOA the size of the Sex for Food scandal is likely much bigger than has been reported.
There are so many women who approach us about this. I can't give an exact number, but I would say it must be between 20 and 30 displaced women.
The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, which provides much of the aid, refused to give an on-camera interview, but did respond to questions via email. Asked why the system for preventing cases of sex for food aid had not been properly set up, they said, "The government of Burkina Faso, supported by the UN, has a toll-free number for filing complaints in all cases of sexual or gender-based abuse. Focal points are in place to detect any sign of sexual abuse or exploitation, and humanitarian and other workers are trained on their responsibilities and accountability." Burkina Faso's Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs did not respond to VOA's request for comment. Henry Wilkins for VOA News, Kaya, Burkina Faso.